Hey guys, so I mentioned in my last video that I was trying out some different solutions for making the silver chain stay silver longer and come back to silver. So obviously, if you've worn a lot of sterling silver jewelry, you know that it will tarnish over time. As someone who was a flautist, that's what I studied in college, I know that silver tarnishes because my instrument tarnished all the time and I had to polish it every day. But a lot of times when people are just buying their first nicer jewelry, they will assume that it's going to stay shiny because the fake stuff that you buy, for $5, $10, $15, $20 does stay shiny because they have this coating on it and it's, made to that whatever. But silver does tarnish. So it's good if your jewelry is tarnishing in the sense that it's something real. But some people do want to polish it back to that shine. I kind of like the darker chain. This one I've been wearing for a while, and it's starting to get a little bit darker as compared to, see this new sterling silver chain? So this is one things I mentioned in the video. I got sterling silver chain versus the silver-filled chain, which still has a core of base metal. This is just sterling silver. So they look the same. They start out just as shiny. I don't know that this will stay shiny longer, but I do hope that it will come back to its shine better. The silver wire does the same thing, right? It will tarnish over time, and you can polish it back. So the standard way is with the same sort of polishing cloth that you would use on maybe sterling silverware at home. Certainly the same polishing cloth that I would use on my silver flute. And, this is pretty white here, right? If I polish, you can see the tarnish coming off. So we could do this for, a few more minutes. Whether or not you can see this in the video, I don't know. But the tops of this are definitely shining a little bit more. But you can still see there's a lot of dark here. So it's hard to get into those crevices, those nooks and crannies, and in this case, the back wires that are underneath the top ones, right? So I don't mind this at all. I don't ever think about whether or not my jewelry is shiny. I like that darker silver look. Some people will actually do a process when they're making their jewelry where they make the entire wire black using a chemical solution, and then they will polish it to shine just the top to shine. That gives it some depth. But I don't generally do that. It does start out shiny. And then over time, it just naturally ages, which I find beautiful. But if you want it to be shinier, that's what we're experimenting about. The other thing that can help you when you're storing your jewelry is to store it in an airtight place. For example, a Ziploc bag. This is actually made for jewelry. A Ziploc bag that you can store the jewelry in airtight so nothing is getting in to make this tarnish. So all of the pieces that are right here, okay, all of these guys are my silver pieces that I don't want to tarnish before you buy them. I want you to get them all shiny. So all these pendants are stored in these little special storage bags. And then you can also get these little silver tarnish strips that you can use to store your jewelry. Keep this in there. It keeps it from tarnishing. Then it's airtight. That will help as well. And all of that to say, it will still tarnish over time, especially you're wearing it, it's touching your skin, it's interacting with the air, the oils in your skin, all that stuff. But it will slow the process. So what do you do once it is tarnished and you want to polish it up? This is the general method. Polishing cloth, and then the little buffer cloth. The second thing that you can do, use a Dremel tool that spins around and it has all of these different attachments. There is a buffing attachment, a polishing attachment. I found that very scary to use. On my delicate wire work, I thought, this scares me. You can fling the piece across the room. You could maybe get it caught on the wire, maybe break the wire. Anyways, yes, you can use a Dremel tool. Would I recommend it? Not necessarily. So I was looking for different other options, and I found a tool that is used by a lot of jewelry repairers, watch repairers, bracelet repairers, antique jewelry refurbishers. And they use this guy, which is a wire brush, beechwood handled brass wire brush, to act as a polisher for the silver to literally scrub the tarnish off. Another reason for switching over to sterling silver chain was that if you're kind of aggressively polishing any sort of filled chain, you may rub away over time the outside of that, right? And you may get to that base metal sooner. So I didn't want to encourage you guys to be over polishing the silver filled chain. Therefore, I thought, okay, it's just time to move to sterling silver chain. That's kind of the only way that you're going to be able to keep polishing it and it's going to keep looking silver. So what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the sink and I'm going to try to show you as I'm doing this. It's a very simple process, but I'm going to take a few different necklace chains. These are things I've bought over the years, some that I've made, and just see how each one of them looks before and after. So for kind of a close-up of these metals, maybe I'll pop up a quick video clip of what they look like after and see if you can tell the shininess difference. But here you go. All right. We're going to head over into the kitchen and we're going to go ahead and scrub these. So we're back in the studio now, and I want to show you what they look like now. I'm going to try and hold this up as I did in the other one. I don't know if you can tell which ones show the most difference or not. Okay, there you go. In the kitchen, you saw me putting them on paper towels. You need to get them dried off again. One of the worst things for metal and for crystals is just to sit there and stay wet. So you don't want that. That would undo all of your hard work. So you want to make sure you dry them. So I put them on paper towel immediately, then I dab them off with a paper towel. Then I take my same polish cloth and polish off anything that's left on the jewelry, right? So I'm going to do that real quick. There's still stuff coming off. So this is not a foolproof, oh, I did that and now everything is back to 100%. I haven't found a way to return it to new condition. That's okay. And then I'll do the pendant here. Now holding up this pendant, you can definitely see the light glinting off the sides. I can tell that right at the top where all the wires are is darker than the rest. You're probably not gonna be able to tell this, but it's darker than all the rest. So I could have scrubbed more, but that also tells me that absolutely on these more loosely entwined wires, it did pull some off. And I can see the shine on this a lot more. Also, you can see more sparkle on the silver. This is still the silver filled chain. It definitely hasn't come all the way back to new. This would be new. Okay. But it's still shiny. It's still hitting the light. So that's definitely going to have more of an impact on your neck than it would have before. I saw less difference on the brass, although there is some of the higher in this, but brass is not as shiny a metal to begin with. The gold that I use, gold-filled wire, is shinier than the brass to begin with, and it maintains its shine much better. So that, just as a tip, if you like shiny gold, definitely go with the gold-filled wire over the brass, because this will dull over time, and it's just a totally different look. Okay, this was a brass chain. It got back some of its shine, but again, it is not as bright as the gold-filled chains to start off with. So the nice thing about this is, as it dulls, I don't even sell brass chain in my shop. This is like 6 years old, this chain. But it's kind of nice that brass doesn't start out so shiny and then looks really nice anyway when it loses its luster. I get it that the silver goes from really bright to really dark, and that's what bothers some people. The brass, dark brass ones, these are ones I bought, so I don't even know what kind of metal they really are. I don't see any difference, to be honest, in these. So if you have like cheaper materials, you might not see much difference at all. And that's fine. The cheaper the piece, the less it really matters probably to you, right? How new it continues to look. But these heirloom pieces, you want to be able to take good care of them and have them look as beautiful as possible for as long as possible. One thing I will say is that I did get some more sparkle back from this copper, which was really dark before I started. I should have kind of held this one up to you guys. This was improved. However, the best thing I have found for copper is in my copper video that I made, Caring for Copper and the Health Benefits of Copper. And that is like a treated cloth that has copper polish on it. That's really the only thing I found that can do anything anywhere near bringing copper back to its original shine. But I mean, I love it like this. I think that's much more my speed, this dark copper. So again, it's your personal preference. You don't have to polish this at all. In fact, when people ask me, oh, how do I get my jewelry to look shiny like it was in the beginning? My personal opinion, and therefore my advice, is just embrace the tarnish. Embrace the way that metal interacts with your body and your environment, with nature. It's a natural process that this metal is going through. So if you think of it that way, it makes it a lot more fun to see the change in the piece over the years. But if you just really, really, really want that shine, then it might be worth giving this a try. I will put a link in the blog to how you can get this. Huge caveat before I let you guys go. 2 things. First of all, if you are going to polish chain, like this dainty chain, you might break it. It would not shock me at all if I were, 1 in 5 times, 1 in 10 times, if I were to snap one of these dainty chains, especially if it's a chain that you've had for years. So if it would break your heart to break this chain, I would not use this, because it's very hard, and you might get caught on one of these bristles. And if you're pulling really hard, you could create enough force to break it. And the second huge caveat is, this is one of the pieces I used, right? This is obsidian, aquamarine, and fluorite. And if you know anything about fluorite, you know it's one of the softer gemstones. So I wouldn't ever really tell you to scrub fluorite with water and soap and a harsh bristle brush, but it's mine, so I don't mind doing it. I don't mind trying. This looks okay. I don't see any scuffs. It's kind of protected by the wire, right? But I don't see too much dissolving from contact with the water. I don't see too much interaction with the soap, hand soap and warm water. So I don't see much reaction. But if you do this over and over and over again, or if you're a little bit of a clean freak and you're thinking, oh, I got to do this every week, you absolutely could wear down those softer stones. So in the blog for this, I will write down a little information about the Mohs hardness and how you can tell, whether or not you should be scrubbing your stones and putting them under water based on how hard or soft the stone is, if that will help you out. So you can click the link in the description to get to the blog, and I'll have more info on that for you. Either way, the best way to keep your jewelry looking shiny is to just take good care of it from the moment you open the package, right? So when you wear your jewelry all day long, it's touching your skin. Your skin oils are getting attached to it. Dust particles that are in the air getting caught in the oils from your skin. If it rains, it's getting wet. If you leave it on when you take a shower or when you wash your hands, if it's a bracelet, it's getting wet. All of that is creating that reaction. So every night when you take your jewelry off, if you take the little blue polish cloth that came with your Lula May design order, or if you have a bigger polishing cloth, and just really quickly wipe it down, just a few strokes, you'll see some of the tarnish coming off. It'll also get some of that gunk from the day, from any particles that got stuck, skin oils that got on there. Just wipe it down, then put it in that enclosed case with your little silver tarnish protector. And that will be the best way to keep it looking shiny the longest. That way you won't have to go through a process of, bringing it back to high polish nearly so often. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And of course, make sure you check out the blog because some other questions you might have might be answered there as well. Again, I'm starting to use the sterling silver chain. That should come back to polish a little bit better than the silver filled. The gold plated chain that I use and the gold filled wire are the ones that maintain their shine the best. So if that's what you're looking for, shiny jewelry longer, I would recommend the gold when in the drop-down menu. If you don't mind if they start to tarnish over time, then you're really set. Still wipe off your jewelry to get off the dirt and the grime of the dust because you don't want that to take away from the beauty of your piece. And polish it occasionally if you feel like it, and then just let nature take its course. All right, guys, hope that was helpful. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll see you soon.